Hello everyone, it's Silver from Fairlight Tarot. Welcome back to my channel. This is a members first video, which means that if you're a member of my channel, you have access to this video about 1 week before anyone else, and it's part of your perks, and that means that you have the possibility to reach out to me just in case you see one deck that I'm going to reharm that you may want to grab. So this is the part 2 of my decluttering my entire collection of tarot and oracle and Lenormand and keeper and playing cards and so on and so forth. And I am doing this Marie Kondo style, which means that for each and every one of these decks, I ask myself if it brings me joy. I believe that was the gimmick. But I also wanted to say that one very important thing for me is that this is not a new video. If you follow my channel for any length of time, you would have seen these types of videos almost every month. I did a big reharming video back in June, and so I didn't feel the need to reharm any other deck for the month of July, August and September, and then I started again in October. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I've been collecting and reading tarot and oracle decks, well, primarily tarot decks, and then I started later on with oracle decks, but I'm talking about 36, almost 37 years ago. That's when I started. And so when a collection is for that long a time in your life, it means that I have found a sense of balance, that I found the right way for me to collect these items. I am collecting other items. I went through a fountain pen collection phase or a fountain pen inks collection phase, and those ones I'm fading them in and out, in the sense that I don't always have this need to buy new fountain pens or new inks. When it comes to tarot decks, it's always been with me. It's always been part of my life. I have never felt overwhelmed. I have never felt like it was getting a bit out of control. I never felt like it was representing or it was giving me anxiety for a financial reason. For example, I never spent more than what I wanted to spend, or for I don't know, maybe logistics reason. Even though this is the reasons why I'm doing this today and in different parts throughout the next couple of months, this is definitely due to logistics, in the sense that I do only have one room. It is a full room, but it's only one room for all of my decks, and when you start having more than 500, you obviously have to come to terms with the layout, how do you store them, etc. Because I still want to be able to reach out, just grabbing one without having to go to a box for it. However, when I do this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to, as I said, go through each and every one of them. It's gonna take a while, it's gonna take a couple of episodes, and then I'm gonna ask myself to be honest and reflect whether I actually love this tarot deck or oracle deck in my collection, or if I'm ready to not necessarily let it go, but if it's a tarot deck that I don't want to let go, but I still don't need it every day, or I don't need it to be displayed, then I'm just gonna put it in perhaps a box, or I do have some new drawers, so I may actually put them there. So I feel that I needed to say this because this is what works for me, but you do you. I am not going to impose anything on myself. I'm not going to impose, I need to reharm 10, I need to slow down, I need to do this. It doesn't work for me. If I receive a rule, or if I'm forcing myself to do or not do something, that is not gonna work. So I know that many of you go through cyclical no buy or low buy years, and that's wonderful, and I admire you, and I wish I were you sometimes to have that kind of discipline, but it doesn't work for me. I have never done a no buy or a low buy year, although there have been years in which I bought very little or maybe just 1 or 2 decks in a full year. Yes, it's incredible, I know. And there's been other years in which I was buying 1 deck a week, so I may got 52 or even more decks. That works for me. So I'm not saying that it should work for anyone else. I'm just saying if you see these videos, please don't think that I'm regretting or I'm justifying. I don't feel like I have to justify my collection at all. This is just the way that I proceed. That's me. That's literally what I do, my process. So let's start. Okay, so they're stuck in double, 2 rows basically. So we start from this one. And this is the Mystic Palette Tarot by Ciro Marchetti. This is an incredibly beautiful deck. However, this is the German edition, and the reason why it's in German is because I bought it when I was in Italy back in February, and it was a mass market edition, and it was the only one that was available back then, and I really wanted this deck. I don't speak German, I do speak Dutch, which helps me when reading German, for example, but I'm not sure because I know that there's an offer on the other mass market edition with the book for like $22 Australian, so I may actually rehome the German edition and reach out for the English edition. We'll see. For now, it's in the maybe pile, let's put it this way. Then I've got the Mystic Palette Tarot, the indie edition for the sepia or muted tones. This is going nowhere. I absolutely love it. The cardstock is amazing, so you know that is actually rather important for me. Then I've got the Amber Nora, the Awakening edition by Jamie Richardson. This is a deck that will not be reprinted because Jamie has changed her mind on tarot, and I don't think that anyone is going to pick it up mass market now that she's not even reprinted her indie decks. So this is absolutely safe in my collection. I really love this deck, one of my favorite ones. This is one that I call my hug decks, in the sense that not just that he hugs me, but I hug him back because I really love it. Very gentle, very kind, very supportive deck. This is the Arcani Filosofici, so that means the Philosophical Arcana in Italian. This is a very special deck. I asked a friend of mine who lives in Italy, who was also into tarot, to grab me a copy because I really wanted to work with this deck. I haven't found the time yet, but this is one of those ones that will come. You know, am I being wishful? Do I have wishful thinking? Probably. But this is what it looks like. It's a very special deck. It looks almost as if it were well, it is obviously minimalist, but what I mean is that it's geometrical. It looks almost as if it were sacred geometry, you know what I mean, but it's not. I do love it though. I feel that it resonates a lot, and the fact that the images on the cards are so simple and so geometrical, it leaves room for my intuition to just be developed. And it does come with keywords at the bottom, although obviously they're in Italian, but it is a really good deck, and I actually can't wait to start working with this one. It does come with a book as well, just in case you were wondering. And this is absolutely safe in my collection because it would be very difficult to buy it again. I don't think I've ever found it online, and that's the reason why I was asking this friend of mine to get it for me. By the way, I'm just looking at the camera right now, looking at my lipstick, and I got asked by a few of you the other videos, so it's the same, but it's 2. So I use, for the base, it's a MAC 829 Saint Germain. And for the top coat, it's a Shiseido 111 Bamboo. So this is the result. And by the way, don't mind my hair, please. I just tried a curling iron for the first time, and obviously I am not good with it. So it looks terrible. My apologies. Don't mind my hair. Just okay, so moving on. That's the first edition of the Gentle Tarot. I am so very happy that I've got this because Mary has been wonderful to me. She's been sending over 3 editions of her deck, and also a few cards from the My Friend Fire, which has funded, and unfortunately at the time of filming the campaign is also completed, so you cannot, you won't be able to back it anymore. But I'm pretty sure Mari's gonna put it available on her shop once that it's been sent out as a reward to the backers. I'm very happy to have the first edition because it's not produced this way anymore. So this is a 2-part box, as you can see here, and it's got this really cute small book. I don't remember if the other edition, the full size, comes with the book or not, because Mari also sent me the full size guidebook, which I adore. No, okay, so this one is the other edition. It's the same when it comes to the cardstock, but as you can see, it does not come with a guidebook. So I'm actually really happy that I've got that first edition, and also because it is a first edition, so obviously very safe. Then this is the Magician, Martyrs and Madmen Tarot by Travis McHenry. Yes, and this is the mass market edition released by Rockpool. It is one of my favorite decks. I know. I just absolutely love the stories behind these characters, and yes, indeed, magicians, martyrs and madmen, mostly madmen I would say, because even the magicians are presented in a slightly crazy, cuckoo kind of way, but I love it, I absolutely love it. It's just one of those decks that I would read the guidebook as if it were a book, as if it were not even a tarot book. And it's not even that chunky, don't know if you can tell, but it's just absolutely fantastic. And it's got for each and every one of the cards, so these are the Queen and King of Cups, but let me just show you another minor. So when it comes to the Six of Swords, the Five of Swords, the Six of Swords, it's got a full page, as you can see here. It is absolutely fantastic. It does talk about, for example, the Six of Swords is the Titanic, and it does talk about the story behind the card, so you actually learn a lot about history about these magician, martyrs and madmen. But then also at the bottom, I don't know if you can see here, it actually gives you the reason why this card in specific has been associated with that specific character and how do they connect, and it works wonders and it reads like a charm. It is for sure not a deck for the faint of heart, and probably I do tend to use it possibly as a shadow work deck, even though I think it's a bit reductive to just call it shadow work deck, because it is a really good reader, just generally speaking, so I highly recommend it. Then we got the Chervono Chorne Tarot, which is really beautiful because it's all black and white and splashes of red, and it's a very strong red, and I absolutely love that it's on the background sometimes as well. I love this deck. It's an RWS clone. I don't have anything else to say about this deck other than all of the characters have got really red cheeks, which is really cool. And obviously it's a Russian deck, Chervono Chorne. I used to know what it meant because I, believe it or not, I studied Russian for 4 years, but it's just, I never practiced. It was just literally just university kind of lessons and studying myself to pass the test, and I passed the test at the end. But I wouldn't be able to, I probably would only be able to say skazhitsi, pajasta, you know, something like that, spasiba, and you know, and even more words. If I pick it back up, I will probably be able to maybe find my way around and to find a bar, drink a beer or a vodka, but that's about it. Which is really a pity because I wanted it to become another language in my repertoire, but unfortunately, even more so than Japanese, so I did study Japanese, including kanji, katanas and hiragana, but Cyrillic alphabet actually gives me a headache. I don't know, it used to, at least in my 20s, I don't know if that is the case anymore. Maybe I'll pick it back up and we'll see. Then we've got my Anatorian decks. So we've got the Tarot of Echoes, absolutely fantastic. This one is coming out mass market, I believe somewhere around next year, not entirely sure when. Absolutely love this deck. This is 100% Anna Torian's deck, so it also the guidebook. Then we've got the indie edition of the Burnstone and Earthflash Tarot, also coming out mass market probably next year, we don't really know. However, I have to say, something that I always say when I talk about this deck, the mass market edition is not gonna give you this. Do you see this? This is a veritable book. It is very chunky, it's got so much information, it's really unbelievable. I don't want to open the pages too much because I don't want to break the spine, but this is an amazing book. I actually really enjoy it. I enjoy reading it, I enjoy studying it, and this is one of my most beautiful decks of all time. You guys know that how much I love Anna's work. Anna Torian is one of my favorite graphic illustrators of all time. It's not graphic illustrator, she's my favorite painter of all time, because this is work of art, this is paintings. And I mean, look at this card, how beautiful this is. And there's one of my favorite aces of wands of all time, one of my favorite fools of all time. Of course, when I'm talking about a card, I'm looking for it and I will never find it because that is Murphy's Law. But if you have the deck, you will certainly remember that the Ace of Wands is a really beautiful card because it shows an Ouroboros, so a snake biting its own tail, with so many colors, and I found it, thank you so much. So this is the Ace of Wands. See how beautiful it is? I don't think I can, don't look at me, there you go. How beautiful is this card? And the fact that it also gives you the idea that you can interpret the Ace of Wands in a different way. Yes, it is that starting again with the spark of life, that creativity, but it's also the circle of life. It's also the fact that there is this sense of fire in the card, because it is the Suit of Wands, but it's actually a circle, it comes back. It's a circle. I love this. I love the fact that I love any deck that is not just aesthetically pleasing, because yes, that is one of the things that I notice in a deck. The Sosumi actually like a beautiful deck, who doesn't? But I love it when it actually stimulates my mind and it makes me think and it gives me the opportunity to study, take something new, learn something new. I'm an Aries sign, 99% of my birth is an air planet, so obviously I need to keep my mind busy. I will actually say something funny because it actually is true. You know, if you have a border collie, you will know. But also Australian Shepherds, Aussie Shepherds, you need to keep their mind occupied, because you can train those beautiful dogs as much as you want the whole day, but you will only develop their muscles and you only make them more restless. You have to actually train their minds or occupy their mind, like a border collie especially. Otherwise it would just keep on, you know, going on and on and on in circles, and you really have to I don't know, trick them into solving puzzles to find the treat and something like that. And that is basically me. I'm a border collie. So moving on, I've got the Le Tarot Arthurien by Claire Duval, and obviously illustrated by Anna Torian. This is really heavy. It's a mass market edition, but it's, I think I spent $80 Australian on it because I really wanted to have it straight away as soon as it was released. And so I got it from Amazon France, I think, and Amazon France doesn't have a free delivery to Australia, so I had to pay for delivery, which I absolutely don't regret. I know that it went down in price, but I didn't expect that to happen, and I'm not upset. I love this deck so much, it's so beautiful. And the book is fantastic. I really hope that they're going to think about translating it in English, picking it up, you know, for an English edition, because it's really worth it. Trust me, it is amazing. I love, of course I love Anna, but Claire Duval, when she writes, she's amazing. So, you know, fingers crossed. And then we're moving on to the second row here. And we've got the Hoodoo Tarot. So this is a tarot for root workers, or at least is based on root work. and it does remind me a lot of my auntie. My auntie was not a worker. I understand that this is a word that is only, let's say, has a very specific geographical location for identification purposes. However, my auntie was, in the Italian way, she was the healer. She would have been called the healer, and she was never thought of herself of a witch. But in many cases, I did look at her in the same way. But white magic, I don't know if I'm explaining myself, because we never actually discussed it. I was too little to actually ask her, you know, these kind of things. But I just wanted to show you something. So this is a very tight box, by the way. It's always difficult to get out the book. I might actually think about putting the deck into a bag. So this is a very interesting book. What I wanted to do probably in the next couple of months, I'm going to film a video in which I'm going to show you what I believe are the best guidebooks to a tarot deck. Not necessarily specifically to that tarot deck. For example, the Tarot of Vampires by Ian Daniels is just a really good book. Full stop. I mean, I would definitely recommend it, even if you don't like the specifically that art style. It doesn't matter. It is really good. And I would say this is really good as well. So the Hoodoo Tarot, but of course it is very specific for you know, it even says for root work. So obviously if you're not interested in this kind of divination system or way of life really, then perhaps you don't want to reach for that book, so don't get it. What are you? I don't remember which one this is. Oh, of course. Sorry. So this is the Tarot as Color by Itel Kokon. Itel Kokon. I don't know whether I'm saying it the correct way or not, but this is the name. So I have to say, I have to be completely honest, 100% honest about this deck. I made a mistake in buying it, so I'm just going to show you the cards because it might actually be easier that way. It is a very special deck. It's very abstract. You will not be able to recognize the card if I did this and I covered the title at the bottom. You will not be able to recognize it because it's just colors. Is very abstract. I will tell you that this is the Eight of Wands. Would you have thought that this was the Eight of Wands? Unless you have the deck, you would not have been able to understand that. Now that I told you, you're probably going, oh yeah, I see the directionality. I see the prevalence of the color red for the alchemical element of fire. Yeah. You would not have been able to say that this is the Eight of Wands, trust me. Anyway, it does say at the bottom, the Lord of Swiftness, which is actually a Hermetic title. And now it escapes me. It is funny because it's actually Sagittarius one, which is in a couple of days, so I will have to look this through for my members videos, because we're doing the deck and watch deck together. I don't remember if it is the Aleister Crowley's title of the Deccan Sagittarius one, or if it's the Golden Dawn. You know what? I have the Hermetic. Yes, I have the Hermetic Tarot here. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to check that out because otherwise I can't sleep tonight. Okay, yes, it's called the Lord of Swiftness in the Hermetic title, which is the Hermetic Tarot, which shows the Hermetic titles as assigned by the Golden Dawn. However, I'm going to have to check the Tabula Mundi as well, because it might actually be one of those Hermetic titles that is the same between Aleister Crowley and the Golden Dawn. So let's have a look at the Tabula Mundi, which I know for sure that it is Thoth inspired, and it's still called the Lord of Sweetness. So this one was a futile exercise, as they would say, because I still don't know, since Aleister Crowley has copied the Hermetic title by the Golden Dawn for his deck, I still don't know if the tarot's color is based on Aleister Crowley's or on the Golden Dawn. So let me just move to a different card. It's definitely a Golden Dawn title deck. Love this. Okay, that may have actually changed my mind. I do by far prefer the Hermetic titles from the Golden Dawn rather than Aleister Crowley's. If you watch any of my videos, you would know that it is a point of distinction for me, because I actually think that Aleister Crowley did a fantastic job with Lady Frida Harris in producing the Thoth Tarot, which is really beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. And I love also the guidebook and everything, but the way in which he's translated or oversimplified the Hermetic titles on the card is just, to me, in some cases he's done a great job, in other cases it's a bit of a hit and miss, let's put it this way. So I don't necessarily like it. I do prefer the Golden Dawn. And so this might change my mind, but in any case, I was explaining the reason why this deck is in my collection is because of a mistake. And I'm being honest, and I'm gonna tell you what happened, because I feel that yes, even though I have been collecting tarot for over 36 years, I can still get mistaken when looking at the deck and thinking that let's say I can identify a deck. So I was looking at a photo on Instagram, and I saw this card. It was really beautiful, and it was very abstract, very abstract. There was absolutely no mentioning of the name of the deck. There were no hashtags, so I couldn't really tell. And then I did the thing with the Google image, and basically it showed me it showed me this one. It showed me Tarot as color. It wasn't the same image, but when you do that with Google Images, it finds images that are similar. It doesn't necessarily tell you what something is. And I thought, okay, that's that deck. So I had a look, and I couldn't find that specific card, but I thought, okay, I cannot find all of the cards anyway, so I bought it. And then I found out that it was actually the Dust Shamanic Tarot, which is the one that I would actually wanted to buy. So that was a mistake. But I have to say though that it is a really interesting deck. So I don't really reach out for it, but I may consider it a collectible item. It doesn't bring me joy, but I don't think it's a good idea to rehome it. So it might probably just go into maybe the shelf of just the older collectible items that I don't even want to touch because I'm scared of ruining them. Then there's another one that is basically a collectible item, even though it's actually a mass market deck, or it used to be. Now it's in print by Schiffer, but it's a so this one is printed by Llewellyn. The new one. The latest one is printed by Schiffer. It is terrible. They did a terrible job in putting blue borders around it, changing the font. There's a number of things that I really did not like. And so this is the Gaian Tarot, absolutely gorgeous deck by Joanna Powell Colbert, which is also the creator of the Herb Crafters Tarot, which I never can understand on the first trial. It's just fine. So the Gaian Tarot, really, really beautiful. I actually prefer this deck to the Herb Crafters Tarot, because the Herb Crafters Tarot, yes, I am doing it on purpose. I'm repeating the name just so that I can train myself in saying it. That one is all about herbs, and I love that. It's an excellent concept, but this one reads more like a tarot. This is really an excellent tarot deck, very modern but very beautiful. And unfortunately this edition is out of print, has been for a while. I was very lucky to find it for a very reasonable price, because I have actually seen this deck, the Llewellyn edition, selling for like hundreds of dollars. I did not spend that much. Then we've got the absolutely gorgeous, beautiful El Goliath Tarot, which is so beautiful. These are samples of the cards in the back. This is a very big box, and I actually keep the cards because I do use it. I keep the cards in a tarot bag, one of the tarot bag ladies tarot bag, because it is just too big to every time just going on and off. The book is amazing, but if I can open the box, I'm going to show you. It is like this. So this is the book, really gorgeous. I mean, look at that cover, look at that cover, look at the lion and also the snake, you know, absolutely gorgeous. But it reads like that, you see, it reads like that, and this is not very practical for me. And on top of everything, and you see this, I'm wearing my reading glasses. You see how tiny this is? Really tiny, like really tiny. And I love it because obviously it means that there's a lot of information here. And of course I had to choose the page with the devil, which is my least favorite card because of the eyes. It doesn't matter. So there is a lot of information. When it comes to the minors, it's 1 per page, so it's a bit less. But I have to say, it's so tiny, it just, it gives me a headache trying to decipher the font, the words, which is really a pity. But it is my problem. I'm not saying that this is something that the author has done wrong. Absolutely not. There was a lot to write. And I also believe that the first edition was so expensive because it was even bigger, and the guidebook was much bigger probably because of the font. And it was so much more expensive, so they actually looked into reducing the cost. And if this is one of the reasons why the font is so small, I completely get it and I'm fine with that. Then we got the Tarot by Orestes Zavola. I've talked about this because this is one of my top 10 out of print decks of all times. I absolutely love this deck. It is a collectible item, not going anywhere. Then we've got the Trick or Treat Tarot by Barbara Moore, illustrated by Jonathan Hunt. I really think that this deck is very well made. The book is very interesting. The companion book, like all of the Llewellyn books, has got a lot of information. So I actually really liked it. The second is not just because it's Halloween related. I mean, yeah, mostly because of that. Okay, then moving on, we've got the Macabre Tarot, which is probably one of my favorite in the let's say the category of Halloween decks that are spooky and cute. I don't know if I would say cute. This deck is not necessarily cute. What should I call this deck? It's a creepy cute. It's a creepy cute kind of deck. And these are examples of the cards. It does open up. It looks like a coffin, obviously, as you can see, and it does open up. And generally speaking, I haven't done that because if you pull this tag, for example, there's a sound inside that feels like creaking. It sounds like a creaking of the top of the lid of a coffin getting open. This is by Sam Rock, and I absolutely love this deck. It is really beautiful. Even the backs, I mean, look at the back. How beautiful is this? They're reversible. And you know, it's one of those decks that I really love, but not just because, you know, it's Halloween related. It's not just because of that. It is weird. So I need to remove myself from the lens, otherwise it will focus on me. It is weird. It's one of those decks that really, it's either makes it or breaks it for you, in the sense that you may love this deck or hate it. I don't think that it's possible to just be neutral about this deck, because it does elicit a visceral reaction. And so it is really cool. I absolutely love this deck, and it's a mass market deck, at least my edition. I don't know if it ever was published as an indie deck, but this is by Rockpool. I believe Rockpool may have some kind of a deal with Sam Rook, because they do seem to be publishing most of their decks, or all of their decks. Then we've got the El Tarot, Los Cuentos de Hadas. It's the Spanish version of Lisa Hunt's The Fairy Tale Tarot, which is, I've seen copies of it on Instagram because Lisa is republishing it with US Games. So if you're interested in this and you don't have it and you don't want to spend hundreds of dollars for the out of print version, this is definitely coming back in English. I speak Spanish, so I have no problems in this, and the book is amazing, absolutely amazing in this one as well. Then we got the indie edition of the Lumina Tarot, really gorgeous deck, and now everyone knows about this deck because this one as well was picked up mass market, was released maybe a couple of months ago by Rockwool, and it's a really beautiful deck. Alas, I think that it's a bit dated when you look at the lack of diversity, and especially because there's a couple of representations here that really feel concerning or problematic. I'm just gonna show you because I cannot just say something like that and not show you, of course. So I'm just gonna grab the card that I am talking about. Okay, obviously I cannot find that specific card that I was looking for because of Murphy's Law. It is indeed a very beautiful deck, but it is always showing very skinny people, which is absolutely fine. Any body shape is yours, so it's beautiful, but it is problematic when they are all super duper skinny, and it's the type of skinny that it's you can tell that it's because they think that skin is beautiful. And so I do have a problem with that, because it's been teaching girls around the world for 3-4 decades that they needed to hate their body enough to starve themselves to become skinny. Unless you have a fantastic metabolism and you're skinny by nature, let's say, just don't starve yourself. I can't believe that I even have to say this. I don't have to say this, obviously. But see what I mean? I mean, even the guys and the other cards are amazing. It's really beautiful. I love it. One of my favorite oracle decks. There you go. This is the Temperance card. I need to remove myself. I don't know if you can tell, but it looks like, I feel that it's unfair that they present this card as the ideal of beauty, whether they want to do it consciously or not. And you may be able to argue that it doesn't say that anywhere, and it's not like they're saying, oh, this is the ideal of beauty, you should be really, really skinny. No, it's true that they're not actually saying that, but it does feel like, because there's no body shape diversity, it feels like it's a chosen body type, not necessarily representative of also different types and different shapes. In any case, I don't want to make it political. I love this deck. It's very beautiful. I love the colors. I love the artwork. I know that it's come out mass market, but I prefer my indie edition, and maybe one day I'll check out the mass market edition just to check it out. Then we're moving on, and this is a tarot deck that is very controversial because every time I show it, everyone goes, I don't like it. It's not for me, and it's absolutely fine. I absolutely get it. However, this is the Lorenzi Tarot, by the way. I love this deck. I really like, I know it's weird. I know. Trust me, I know. Maybe I like it because it's weird, and I'm just gonna show you a few pages just to, just to explain, because otherwise I'm not doing a good job. So let me just show. First of all, why do I love this deck? First of all, the background color is this really nice teal greenish gray, which is really cool. And yes, the images are really weird. They are weird. Sometimes bodies are being cut in two, they're being split in two, and but they're not bleeding. So it's not a violent deck. There's no violence expressed by the images, but there is weirdness. As a 5-star factor weirdness, I would say. I actually really like it. There's also something else to say, and I wish that it wasn't so. The book doesn't tell you much, so if you like this deck, I mean, look at the 5 of Cups. Isn't it just beautiful? You can see that is the theme is there, in the sense that it is the 5 of Cups, and we're seeing basically some jellyfish. So obviously it is in theme with the water energy of the Suit of Cups, but they're not. The cards are not easy to read if you don't know your RWS. And when you go to the book, it doesn't actually help you a lot, because when you look at it, sorry, let me do it this way. it really doesn't say much, does it? So that's a pity, because I would have loved to have a bit more of a description on the way in which the card was realized and all of the connections and everything. But it's absolutely fine. So that was only one shelf. We have two more, so let's brace ourselves. And let's see. So far I have not I have not thought about rehoming any of these decks. I got really close to the Tarot Scholar, but then again it is a collectible item. So I'm just gonna go a little bit quicker. This is the Fyodor Pavlov. This is a really beautiful deck. It pairs up so well with the Lost Oracle by Rockpool. It is really beautiful. Look at the images. I love the graphic style. I love the fact that there is a very conscious choice about the colors. So it's basically muted color palette, but there are splashes of colors that refer to the suit. So I'm loving that because it's really nice. Then I've got the Next World Tarot. This is I learned recently, this is the indie edition and it's the original, and I saw people selling it for like $110, and I don't really understand because I think I paid $25 for it, but in any case, really beautiful, very modern. I love Christie. This is a fantastic work, very, very modern, as I say, but it is gigantic. So what I did, I actually had to trim it because otherwise there was absolutely no way that I could use it, that I could handle it. And even so as you can see here, this is the Prince of Wands, the Page of Wands, sorry. And I had to put a PW here at the bottom because I don't know if I would have been able to, yeah, I would have seen the wand here, so for sure, but there's other cards that are not as straightforward as this one. But in any case, I really love this deck. I love how beautiful it is. It comes with a guidebook, and the guidebook is interesting as well. Then we've got Walking Meditation Tarot by Daniel Normal. And this is an amazing deck. I love the fact that it comes with two guidebooks. One of them is about definitely walking meditations practice or rituals. And I do tend to walk a lot, and I really enjoy doing these rituals. So very, very safe in my collection. Besides, I also got the Winter Season Tarot by the same creator, and I really love it. Then we've got the Tarot of the Crone by Ellen Lorenzi Prince. This is a third edition. Sorry, it doesn't actually say. It's the edition from 2017. So it does come with a box, and I'm very grateful for that because the original one that I had didn't. And it got, not ruined, but you could tell that it wasn't exactly safe. I haven't used this deck. I like it. I like looking at it, but I haven't used it. I'm not going to rehome it because it's out of print. And it is a collectible item, but I don't feel like I'm called by the deck yet. I mean, it will come one day. And then we've got the Spacious Tarot, which I never use, and it's a pity because it's a really beautiful deck. The court cards in the Suit of Cups are really beautiful koi fishes. They're really nice. I don't know why I don't use it. It is one of those decks that it actually is spacious. There's no human beings in here. So you would think that they will have some room in my collection, or at least in my practice. Maybe it feels like a spring deck, so maybe, I don't know, but I don't use it much. Maybe I should be able to ask myself if it brings me joy. It does, it brings me joy. So the fact that I don't use it doesn't necessarily mean that it doesn't bring me joy. As a matter of fact, it is a beautiful deck. The Guardian Angel, that's the original version. Doreen Virtue, Rackley Valentine. This is a hug deck. This deck does not have one negative card in the whole of the deck. So when I need it. If you know, you know. Then we got the Stranger Things. This is an Insight edition, and as all the Insight editions, unfortunately, it is a bit of a hit and miss, especially when it comes to the Suit of Scoops. It's just a cone, an ice cream cone with 2 scoops for the 2 scoops and 3 scoops for the 3 scoops. So you see where I'm going with this, but I'm actually keeping it because it brings me joy, because I love Stranger Things. I'm actually re-watching it. I'm at season 2. I've watched all of the seasons already at least once, but I'm re-watching it because I actually really love it. So the deck is staying, even though I have to say they would have had the opportunity to do something very special and they didn't, which kind of upsets me. Then we have got the Eastern Ink Tarot, which is very beautiful. The art style is amazing, and I also actually I was going to say I appreciate the book as well, but the truth is that I don't remember much about the book. So does that mean that it doesn't bring me joy? I don't know. I will have to check this out, as a matter of fact. So the beginning of the book is in Chinese, and then the second part is in English, so fear not if you want to grab this deck. It's not out of print. I think it's still available on the Tevala store, so if you're interested. It's very beautiful. I love the bags. I mean, look at these bags, they're so gorgeous. And as you can see, it's this kind of style. It is Eastern Ink, so obviously I'm always very interested in this type of culture. It is my favorite field of study, especially when it comes to Japan, but Eastern Ink, as in, you know, China as well, that is very interesting to me as well. So I'll definitely keep it. I don't use it much, but I still feel like I need to bond with this deck in order to be able to decide whether it actually brings me joy or not. Then the Tarot of the Vampires by Ian Daniels. I talk about this deck all the time. This is a Llewellyn deck. Unfortunately, it's not going to be reprinted, so it doesn't mean that it's out of stock. You can still probably find it. If you do find it in stock in one bookstore, for example, or even in your local Amazon, I highly recommend you grab a copy if you're interested in this deck, because once it goes out of print, it means that they're going to finish the stock and then they're not going to reprint it. So if you want it, you know what to do. Then another Llewellyn deck. This is the Cirque du Tarot, and it's by Lisa Robertson. I studied this deck a lot. I spent many hours, many days with this deck, learning that kind of patina that covers the card, in the sense that there is this new layer of interpretation and rendition of the cards themselves, and I actually really appreciate it. I appreciate the fact that you see the court cards as an evolution of the same person, simply in different stages of maturity. And so the maturity is symbolized by more and more objects, or the costume that was coming more and more complete. And then, you know, it starts from the person looking at themselves in the mirror before they even put on makeup, and then it ends with the king and the queen on the same person, just one different side of the face. I think it's revolutionary. It's amazing in the way in which Lisa has approached the court cards. Having said that, I have spent so much time with this deck that I'm now ready to pass it on. It is not a collectible item. It is a mass market deck by Llewellyn. It is still available that I know of. The contract has been renewed, so it will be published again. I don't use it anymore. I don't reach for it anymore. So this is actually the first one that is gonna go in my maybe pile, or my purgatory pile, or however we want to call it. And then moving on, we've got the Hour Tarot, another really heavy brick-like deck. So this is the Hour Tarot by Sarah Shipman. I love this deck. There's stories behind it. Ironically, I have to say, I wish I had the indie edition. This is the mass market one. But only for the cards, because the cards are tiny. I mean, you look at this, wait for it, you look at this, it's huge, right? So this is standard tarot size, so it's huge. And you think, okay, well, it's probably because of the book, but I do expect the tarot to be at least standard tarot size, right? Right? No, wrong, it's tiny. You see what I mean? It is tiny. Again, compared to standard tarot size, there you go. Much tiny. So I wish I had the indie edition, but everyone tells me it actually looks the same, because when you go into the cards and you look at them, you will see that on top of everything, the image is even smaller than the card itself, because it's got a lot of borders up and down and all around. So it is a bit disappointing because of that. I would have loved to see clearer and bigger images, because I love this deck so much. but it's also true that I especially love it because of this chunky monkey of a book, of a guidebook. This is literally the stories of all the ladies that you see in the cards. I just love reading about them. There's at least a couple of pages for each and every one of them. And I love how this book is made. It feels amazing. Also, it feels really like sturdy. It's a very good tactile feel to it. So I'm absolutely in love with this deck, and it's going nowhere. And maybe I might try and get an indie edition, but I will keep it together with the mass market one. But everyone tells me that the indie edition is not that much bigger anyway. Then we got another collectible item, which is the Lost Code of Tarot by Andrea Aste. This is amazing. I love Andrea's work. He's Italian, he lives in London. He's made a few other tarot decks, the Shadow and Light Tarot, which is 2 decks in one. There's another one over there, which is still the Alchemist Story, I believe it's called, and I do have that one as well. I should probably keep them together. But in any case, really love this, and this is an example of the cards. You will recognize the style. It's very similar to that deck that I was talking about, the Shadow and Light Tarot. Really love what he's doing. Absolutely amazing. Very creative, very inventive, very new. Now we got another Samrock Tarot by Rockpool, and it's the Rainbow Moon Tarot. Very beautiful, but the cardstock is not my favorite. I love the color palette though. You see these colors, the yellow and the green and the pink and the blue. I like it. Then we've got the Phantom Wise Tarot, which is based on Erin Morgenstern's The Night Circus book, which I have read, and here, it's not my favorite. I know that everyone will go, okay, you can clutch your pearls if you want. What I mean with this is that it is a fantastic book. I love the concept. It is also really well written, but I gave it a 4 and everyone has given it a 5. The only thing that I can say about giving it a 4 rather than a 5 is that I felt like I needed to pick up the pace every now and then a little bit more. And that's all I have to say, but I love this deck. So it is a kind of a fake linen. I don't know how to explain this. It is not the real, no, okay, let me just put it this way. There are different types of linen cardstock. And I think that this one can also qualify as a linen cardstock. However, it is not your typical linen cardstock. I don't mind it. I find that it's absolutely fine. I love the fact that it's black and white. It feels like it's not just black and white, but also cyanotype, because there's some shades of gray, as you can see. So I actually really love this deck. It is very beautiful. I resonate with it as well. I feel that, yes, I did read the book, but as I said, it was a 4. It's almost as I'm saying it almost as if a 4 was a bad score, which is not. It's a good score. I mean, 4 is excellent. It's not just it's not my favorite, that's all. Then we got one of the staple decks of every single one of the collections. It's the Wild Unknown Tarot. I don't need to talk about this deck. You've probably got it. Then we've got the Steampunk Tarot, which is actually really cool. I know that recently there was a new release, not by the same, this is Tuttle. And I believe there was a release by maybe Lo Scarabeo, and it was the Fairy Steampunk deck or tarot deck. I really love the style. I love steampunk. It's one of my favorite type of art. However, I have to say cyberpunk is, I like it a lot more. I would say cyberpunk is here and steampunk is here, so I really love it. Then moving on to the Radiant Wilds Tarot. Absolutely love this deck. Also mass market, published by Rockpool. It's got some very strong fiery vibes. It's set in the desert. I always say this is my mass market alternative to the Moonchild Tarot, because it feels like it reads really well in a very similar way. This one pairs up really well with the Moonology Messages Oracle. It pairs up really well with that Oracle deck. absolutely amazing, not going anywhere. Then we're moving on to my Rumi Tarot by Nigel Jackson. This is a collectible item. It's an absolutely beautiful deck. I actually really like it. So it's not going anywhere. I'm actually going to put it together with the collectibles. I may actually reorganize these shelves. And that was the second shelf, and we're moving on to the bottom one, which has got some pretty huge decks. So we've got the Witch Sister, sorry, I always swap them. The Witch Sister Tarot by Llewellyn is amazing. I love it. It's by Julia Jeffries. She's also the creator of the Tarot of the Hidden Realm. And this deck is amazing. And I also like it because it pairs up really well with Natasha Ilincic Compendium of Witches, which is a very beautiful oracle deck, very witchy, obviously. So this is obviously very safe. Then we've got the Tarot of the Hidden Realm, because sometimes I actually do like a work in order and put the same creators together, especially when they publish for the same publishing company. So the Tarot of the Hidden Realm, it is very beautiful as well. However, between these two, I actually prefer the Witch Sister because it is more varied. I feel like the Hidden Realm, it is almost mostly close-ups, and it doesn't feel so much like you know, changing or showing you the different meanings on the cards, whereas the Witch Sister actually does. Then we've got the Mythos Tarot by Rockpool. I actually really like this deck. I know that there's been a lot of talk about you know, the standard of beauty in this deck. It looks like everyone, the Mythos Tarot is based on Greek gods. Okay, let me just put it this way. And everyone is complaining that there's no representation, but it is also true that it's not representing Greek people, because it wants to represent Greek gods and goddesses. Now, it is rather obvious that obviously when you look at the representation of Greek gods and goddesses, when they were imagined by the Greek people, they would obviously imagine them looking like them in human form, and they would have been looking like them. So I get that, I completely get that. But I also think that ever since the dawn of time, we have always thought of gods and goddesses as elusive when it comes to the human form. We do represent them in human form in most religions because it's easier for us to think about them, or to think of them, or to picture them, because that's what we know. But on the other hand, we also tend to see them as alien, and I don't mean alien as extraterrestrial, I mean alien as different from us, because we're humans and they're gods. So there is an argument there. I'm not saying that it is, you know, it's not, obviously not very let's say location appropriate or something like that, but I still really like it. I really like this deck. And I don't know where to put it anymore, because now I'm surrounded, you can't see it, but I'm actually surrounded up to my chest. I'm surrounded by decks. Put it just there. So then we come to the deck that I cannot pronounce. It is the Herb Crafters Tarot. See, I'm doing my best. Joanna Paul Combat is the same author as the Gaian Tarot. This is by US Games, still in print. It's a really beautiful deck, fantastic guidebook when you want to study, when you want to learn more about herb crafting. And then we're moving on to the Poe Tarot, not the Llewellyn edition. This is the Schiffer Red Feather. And this is the one that actually won the Magna Carta, the Carta Award a couple of years ago. I don't remember exactly when. So I actually really like it. Tricia Lee Schufeld. I really love it because, and I'll show you, even though we still have 4 to go, but I wanted to show you. So we have here a quote from Edgar Allan Poe's works in each and every card, and they're surprisingly appropriate. So the way in which this deck was curated was really top-notch. Kudos, and probably that's one of the reasons why it won the award, because it actually is well done. Then we got one of my favorite decks of all time, and I made it from the bottom of my heart. This is the Tarot Pop Culture. It's a French deck that I really wish they would print in English, because I want this deck to be in more homes. I want more people, I want more collectors to have this deck. It is a Hachette publication, so it is a mass market deck. I bought it in Paris, it wasn't even that expensive. And yes, it is about pop culture, and I just love it because it's got at least 3 cards referring to Keanu Reeves, so of course I love it. So we've got Keanu in The Matrix, in John Wick, as the Baba Yaga. And then we've got him in another card I don't remember now off the top of my tongue, off the tip of my tongue, off the top of my head. Yeah, off the top of my head. You see that sometimes I actually edit these bloopers out of the video, so you don't actually see how goofy I am sometimes, but I am this goofy. I'm actually gonna keep it. I'm gonna keep it. So it is beautiful. It does have all these pop culture references. Let me just disappear so I can focus. And it is very interesting, obviously. It is, I would say, yes, it does show peepish. Minors are not entirely fully scenic, let's put it this way, but it is gorgeous, and even when it is peepish, it actually is quite interesting. So this is, for example, the Princess Bride. So these are the 6 cups of the Princess Bride, and you can see the banquet with the food and everything. So I actually really enjoy this deck. I love it. I really wanted to show you the Baba Yaga, so let me just look for it because it's actually really cool. So I was looking, there's references from Harry Potter, there's references from Sleepy Hollow, there's references from the Addams Family. As I said, there's Keanu in Neo, as Neo in The Matrix. There's Harry Potter again, Sleepy Hollow, Captain Hastings, Aragorn, so Lord of the Rings. There's Lady Oscar there as well, which I really love. There's the Grail, there's the Ariadne Oliver, there's Death Note, which no one seems to remember, but it was, I don't know, I watched it on Netflix and it was really interesting. It's about when you write down something and you make it happen. Let's just leave it at that because I don't want to ruin it for anyone. There's his which one is this one again? I know that it's a YA fantasy that I actually really enjoyed. His terrible something, I don't remember. You guys are probably screaming at the screen right now, sorry about that. And I do have John Wick as the Baba Yaga, as in, you know, the death card. And I love this card because, as you can see, it's very glossy, it catches the light. So I love this card because it's got my favorite colors when it comes to cyberpunk colors. So it's really, really cool. So that's the one that I wanted to show you. But I think you also have Constantine. You also have Keanu from when he played Constantine, which is an amazing movie. Wildly underrated. I really don't understand why. Obviously, if you don't like Keanu, you probably don't like the movie, but it's beautiful. And then we got the Scarab and Dahlia, which is a really beautiful tarot deck, a collage deck. Very recent. I absolutely love it. I love to pair it with a few oracle decks, also collage oracle decks, and I just take this as the opportunity to tell you that When Olga Speaks, which is the oracle deck by Sasha Lopez, based on her grandma Olga's saying to honor her life and also her passing. That one was a Kickstarter that did not reach the funding goal in the summer of 2023. Probably because everyone was on vacation. I don't think that was the right time of the year for a campaign. However, it's coming back and it's launching on the 1st of January. And if you follow Sasha Lopez's Instagram account, Numa Collective, I think it's called, you will see the changes that she's actually making on these cards, but she also has a YouTube channel, so Sasha Lopez. If you missed out on the When Olga Speaks Oracle, and whenever I present it or Benny presents it or Annette presents it, you want it, you'll be able to get it. So keep an eye out for that Kickstarter, but it pairs up really nicely with this one, which also pairs really well with the Abaton Keys, for example, by Patty Allen. Really love that deck. We're down to the last two, thankfully, because I'm actually tired. Okay, so we got the Yokai, Taraki Yokai, and I'm not gonna say much more, but you'll see more of this deck in a future video, not too far away. I'm loving all of my Yokai Tarots. And then we got another Llewellyn deck that went out of print and is not going to be reprinted anymore. This is the Anna K Tarot. I have to say something. So the Anna K Tarot, I used to have it. I used to use it before it went out of print, as in they decided not to reprint it anymore. I used to have it. I used to read with it. It was brutal. And it was always brutal just for me. Like if I was using it for a client's reading, it was absolutely fine. But then when I was reading it for myself, it was really brutal. And when I see that, there's another tarot deck that did that for me, and I ended up rehoming it because I don't want to deal with negative energies. And I think that everyone, and it's not, please understand, I'm not talking about the deck's energy. I'm talking about literally the fact that every time that I did the reading with it, it was really nasty. And I'm not talking shadow work, I'm not talking tongue-in-cheek, I'm not talking about being curt and assertive and straight to the core. No, I'm talking about actually nasty, without any reason whatsoever. So I'm keeping it because now it's become a collectible item, but I'm not gonna read with it. So I actually haven't used it ever since I rebought it. That was it. That was the third shelf, and we went through all of these decks. So let me just count them quickly. Okay, so we went through 47 decks, and only one of them is going on the Purgatory shelf. So again, as you can see, I'm not forcing myself to rehome a deck. I'm just going through this collection and just sussing it out and see what I feel about these decks. In any case, thanks so much for watching. As I said, this is a members only video, so if you're watching it now before anyone else, you're a member of my channel, thank you so much for supporting my channel. If you're interested in the Cirque du Tarot, let me know. I will probably end up rehoming it, but it is a mass market deck, so I have to say that. So probably best if you're based in Australia, because otherwise the shipping costs are terrible. But this was fun. Anyway, thank you so much for watching and have a great day.